You are now listening to the Verified Phenoms podcast. In this show, we speak with individuals who have come from all walks of life and have overcome the mental limitations of imposter syndrome, perfectionism, and overthinking. Get your notebook ready and stay tuned to learn how you can win your mental battles and become a verified phenom as well. Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Verified Phenoms. I'm your host, Phenom, and we are still in season 2 talking to people that are taking their life to the next level, that have overcome any type of perfectionism, anxiety, and really also imposter syndrome. Today, we have with us Borbir. He is a serial entrepreneur and CEO of Jafton, the #1 U.S. app development agency. With over 20 years of experience in technology, he has founded various innovative projects, including the world's third Facebook clone, and he's worked with leading clients in the US and abroad, such as the Saudi royal family. Bobir's public speaking background is extensive, as he's a successful influencer who promotes tech and business culture through social media. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Sunday evening to be with us today.
Thanks for having me, Phenom.
How are you? First of all, we were just saying this Sunday evening is October 1st. It's Q4. So what are you excited about getting into Q4?
It's the sales are doing well. The season is changing. So I'm excited. I'm always excited, It's just good time.
I love to hear it. So I want to ask you, before we get too deep into everything, I have a couple of rapid fire questions I want to ask you. So the first thing that comes to your mind, just answer it, and we're just gonna move forward, okay?
Sure.
Ready?
Yep.
All right. So beach vacation or mountain getaway?
Mountain getaway.
What's your go-to karaoke song?
Titanic.
Ooh. Would you rather be able to fly a plane or a submarine?
Plane.
What makes you nervous?
I guess, losing the business.
If you could switch lives with someone for a day, who would it be?
It would be Elon Musk.
Interesting. If you could instantly master any musical instrument, which one would it be?
Guitar.
Why the guitar?
I just always loved the guitar, but I don't know how to play it.
Respect. I think if I were to do any musical instrument, I think it would be the piano. I don't know.
Yeah. The piano would be the second option for me.
Nice. Okay. So, 20 plus years in business.
Yep.
Did you always want to be a businessman?
Since I was a kid, from the high school. Yeah.
Since high school?
Since high school.
Were you one of the kids in high school that was selling candy out of their duffel bag or their book bag or anything?
Yeah, well, I was born overseas. I was born in a country called Uzbekistan, and yeah, we had limited products when I was growing up. So the Western chewing gums were very popular. I used to sell them, other stuff as well, like candies, the Western candies, and etc. Yeah, I did them.
So, what about selling the candy made you realize, or the chewing gum, or all things of that nature? It's like, you know what? I want to make this something big one day. Obviously, maybe not selling candy or chewing gum, but was there anything about like the power of being able to just make money? What was it about it?
I just like the process of making money. Honestly, it was not about like building a business. You're like 10, 12 years old. You can't build the business, especially back then. It's pre-internet, era. It was all about the process. Like I sell something to someone and get money in return. That process made me excited.
Okay. Did you have anybody in your family that was already into business?
My father.
Okay. And how long had he been into business?
How long he been in the business? probably
Yeah,
like 40.
when you were that age, 10, 12
He
years
was
old.
in the business since I was like probably like 8, 9 years old.
Okay. So you grew up really
I
seeing how
grew up in the, yes,
process of it. Okay.
exactly.
That makes sense. That makes sense. So he
Mhm.
really was almost like your was he would you say he was more so your first role model?
Absolutely, he was.
Okay. I love that. I love that. I
Hmm.
always talk to people and it's so interesting to see how the way that people grow up truly shapes how they almost become adults, young adults, and all things of that nature, and even their careers. A lot of people that I speak to just in life that have parents that are in business, they grow up around that, and they almost see like that sense of freedom. Just like you know what, I think I can do that too. So when it came to your father, when he was running his businesses, and you're going through school trying to figure this out, is that when you really realized, you know what, I want to start this process myself? Because was there anything else that you want to do when you were a child, like a firefighter or anything?
Well, when I was kid, my parents used to tell me that I will be a diplomat, like
Mm,
someone high-ranking government official flying across the world, doing international affairs. That's what I was being told,
mm,
and I don't know what's the reason. And then, approximately when I was like 14, they then I start looking into technology, computers and stuff like that. And this is when they said, "Hey, you're gonna go to tech industry." And then, I honestly wasn't good at math. And then I thought, okay, well, I'm gonna go to tech industry. I'll probably will be a developer. And my father told me, hey, that it's like in 1998. He said, developer gets a lot of money. Coder
mm,
makes a lot of money. So the money was a motivation for me, but I couldn't
mm,
see myself working for somebody. I knew that eventually I'd be
mm,
doing something in tech world. So since I was young, I always wanted to, you know, I did not see myself in all honesty as working for somebody for, long time. Maybe
mhm,
just to start my career, but I would not see myself like working for somebody from 9 to 5. It's just who I am.
mm.
Yeah.
Something that you just said that I think a lot of people can relate to, that kind of knew that you were going to end up in tech. However, you were saying that you weren't that good at math.
No.
And there are a lot of people that may have hopes and aspirations of being in a certain field or just accomplishing a certain goal, but they may not be good at said subject. How was that for you? Did you just really drill becoming better at math, or are
No.
you still not a mathematician now? Like today, you're shaking your head. So,
Absolutely
how
not.
you've been in tech for 20 years? So, how did that end up?
Absolutely not. So it actually scared me to the point where I was like super anxious. When I was when I was going to college, I was like, "Holy crap! How am I going to manage that?" Because the coders, they usually have to know, good at math. And I quickly found out myself that, okay, I can learn it, I can be a coder, but I would not be the best coder. So what I did is that I realized that someone had to be managing. You know, at the
Mm,
college they would give us the projects and say, "Hey, group of four, go and do this project." And I would quickly, come up with the idea, hey guys, why don't you do the coding side and let me do the presentation side? And believe it or not, a
mm,
lot of people in my class, they were introverted people. They were not good at presenting. They were not good at public speaking. And I was okay with that. So, I realized, okay, there is a room, there is a place for me in tech industry. I could work in tech industry and still not be the best coder. So
mm,
I usually used to manage the team.
Yeah.
They did the work. I did whatever I could, as much as I could, wireframes and etc. And then for the presentation part, I would be the one to do the presentation.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that. So I think that's a lesson that a lot of people can take with them. But you realize you wanted to be in tech, but you didn't necessarily need to be essentially like the quote unquote tech junkie within the
No.
project that you're working on. But you figure you almost fit in where you can fit in, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that when you figured out that you could essentially be the person that gives a presentation, you were comfortable with your speaking skills. Did you start to work on that skill to grow
Yep.
it? Like,
I did.
okay.
So I start focusing, instead of focusing on just pure coding, engineering side.
Hmm.
I had to do that, but I had the options to go with, project management classes, wireframing classes, public speaking, and other classes. So I would try to avoid as much as I could coding classes and just focus on somewhere where I could actually excel. That would be
Mm.
project management. That's what I good. That's where I was good at. So yeah, I did focus on other aspects in my own tech industry.
And now that you've been in business for over 20 years,
Yeah.
it almost seems as if you were preparing yourself to be running like the empire that you have now. Being able to really delegate and be a project manager and have the presentation skills within your college courses that you were doing was setting you up for everything that you're doing now. Would you say that's true?
It is. Yeah, it is true partially
Okay.
because college was just the beginning. I pretty much learned the rest of the important things by trial and error, by
Mm,
going into business, by raising capital, selling companies, and etc. By learning how to delegate, by learning how to get the teams to work together on a bigger scale. That's what we I did not learn in college. I had to learn it, going and trying my businesses.
mm. A lot of the audience that I speak to, they are college students or anybody that's in their early 20s. And it's a prime stage to, in my opinion, let me know what you think, is to be able to what I call fail forward. Continuously trying new things that you were just saying because you didn't learn the majority of that in college, but you had to really go out and learn it on your own. As you were going out and figuring how to delegate, how to, become a better presenter, all things of this nature, was there ever a moment that you were thinking, you know what, this may not be for me?
Not necessarily. There were points where there were times where I was not good at what I was doing, but I just I was I tried to be persistent as much as I could. When I was in the high school, I did uh, professional taekwondo martial arts,
In high school?
and I was black belt. And I always tell myself, you can't become a professional MMA martial artist or basketball player or whatever, rugby, baseball, whatever, if you don't put time and be persistent. There is no way. There's no, you can't skip it. Same is true with business. It's like exact same. The only very small percentage of people, extremely small percentage of people become successful overnight. It's like winning a lottery, but most of us have to spend time. So whenever it didn't work out, I would say myself, okay, I need to give a try more. I need to try more. If it doesn't work, if I got bankrupt, Then I move on. I stick to the same industry, but I tried something else, different projects. I
Mm.
guess that's how I, eventually succeeded, because I knew there if someone else is able to create things, if someone else is able to become successful, then pretty much anyone can do it as well. If you put the right effort, you have the right business model and etc. And you put the timing, you invest your time. So to answer your question, I did not have that feeling of, hey, I knew that I would be successful. One day I would be successful,
Because of what was almost
because
embedded into you when I
exactly,
can't get past this. You said in high school you were a black belt.
yeah, I was, I spent a lot of time just to achieve that, and you could not skip a class. You had to invest your time to get into that level. So business is pretty much same. You
Mm,
know, you have to spend time to get to the certain level, and there's no other way. That's it. There's no way. You have to. Trust me, brother. If you spend 5 years, whatever, 6 years doing this podcast, and you always come up with the new ideas, you will be very successful at that. Your podcast is going to be very popular. That's almost guaranteed. But a lot of people, but then you will have it's not going to be straight up line. It's going to be bumpy road. One day you're going to be tired, you're going to be exhausted, and etc etc. You will be thinking, hey, it's not working out, and etc. But if you drop there, you will never succeed. But
mhm,
if you keep doing it and come up with the new ideas, you will succeed.
mm. I, w- I really want to talk more about this black
Yeah,
belt in high school because I think it's so powerful, and it definitely relates to what you were just saying. You continue doing something for so long, you will eventually be successful at it, and that was you becoming a black belt professional in high school.
yeah,
I think that says a lot about you, right? For sure. Because most high schoolers are just thinking about being on the phone, maybe getting boyfriend, girlfriend, playing video games, going to the mall, all that type of stuff. But no, you were becoming a professional martial artist. When did you start martial art?
I
And,
started
mm,
I started on and off approximately 11 years, when I was 11 years old,
okay.
um, going to boxing, kickboxing, aikido, and etc. And then really invested my time from approximately 13, to pretty much, till the end of my high school. So yeah, like from 11 to 17.
That's cool. I box now, actually. I've been boxing for about a year, and I
Oh,
just
nice.
recently started to take it seriously back in February. I started going about 4 to 5 days a week, and it's been amazing.
It's
So
great.
I I can definitely relate to what you're saying. Over time, you continue to get better. And actually, it's funny. You, I wish I can pin the camera around, but I was just writing on my board today what I need to drill in order to become proficient at like certain moves within boxing. And I feel as if this will also can relate to business. It can relate to your personal life. And of course, as you know, it can relate to martial arts, right? My coach was always telling me in order for you to be able to get this drill down, shuffling, grappling, right? Your jab, anything of that nature, you have to drill it down outside of practice. And for anybody that's listening to this that may not understand what I mean by that, is your coach may teach you something, but you can't just let what you do in practice be the only time that you do it. You have to drill it, meaning do repetitions of it continuously until it becomes almost second nature, right? So for you to be in high school, starting around the age between the ages of 11 and 13, before you started really taking it seriously, all the way up until about 17, 18 in high school,
Yeah.
what was that mindset of discipline and consistency for you throughout that time? Because, like we were saying, most high schoolers are not thinking about this.
Yeah, yeah. It's just that I grew up on Hollywood movies. Um, you know, at that time it was 1990s, 95. There was a lot of action movies, and I watched them. It was, I fantasized. I wanted to be strong. I
Mm.
wanted to be like them. So, and I just decided that it's time to go and practice. At the beginning, it's difficult, but then once you get into that, you just keep doing it, and as you said, you become better at that. And then at one point, I decided, hey, this is so cool. Like, I'm good at that, and I just kept doing it. And I trained a lot. Yeah, I was really really good at martial art. Just
You s-
wanted it, so badly. When
Yeah.
you want to become really strong, and you're still young, I by no means I was also spending time, playing video games. I was spending time playing, basketball with my friends. And you can squeeze in that 1 2 3 hours a day. At the beginning it was like hour and a half of training,
Mhm.
and then it went to two, and then it pretty much last year it became like 3 hours a day. You can squeeze, you can get that time. I could either just sit at home and lay down, watch TV, or I did that stuff, and it paid off. I became good at that.
When it comes to taking that mindset, and when it comes to business, or let's just say even clarity, because I think that's something that a lot of people have a question about is clarity. A person only moves with that type of intention when they know what they want to do. Like you were saying, you realized that you were good at that in martial arts and you want to get better at it. For me, it was pretty much the same thing. I kept on getting compliments from my coaches. They were like, you know what, you're kind of naturally good at this, which wasn't really natural. I've been an athlete
Yeah,
ever since I was a kid. But once I got that clarity that I want to get better at it, I was just like, let me continue to move forward. For you in your journey, not just with martial arts, but not just business, it could be relationships that you built professionally as well over time. How have you been able to understand or figure out clarity in order for you to move with intention moving forward?
that's a that's a difficult question. Can I kind of lost you there, bro. Can you paraphrase
I
there?
got you. I can paraphrase
Yeah,
it. I got you.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
how in life in general, how are you able to gain clarity so that you can move with intention with everything you do?
I think it's in my nature. If I want something, I have a strong desire to succeed. I just move on with that. Um, I'm a very big risk taker. I changed 3 countries in my lifetime, like completely. One time, when I turned 17, my parents sent me to Australia. I went from living in Uzbekistan, all of a sudden, living in Australia, English speaking country. Um, and then from there, I lived there for 10 years. I moved to Russia, 6 years in Russia, moved to US. So by nature, I am a very risk taker. And the only, when I want something, I just go all in. It's, in a way, it's good. Sometimes it's bad as well, because I had the situations where I lost pretty much everything. I got bankrupt. So it's just, this is how I my mentality works. If I want it, I'm gonna get it, even if it takes me 5 years. I'll do my best. As they say, you die trying. This
Mhm.
is who I am. I try my best.
I was having a conversation with one of my mentees recently, and it, it just sparked. It came up in my mind with something you just said. You say that you go all in. And for some people, they think that they are doing enough in order to become successful or to get what they want. What does going all in look like for you?
To me, it was investing everything that I had in the project that I believed in, putting, everything, literally everything, whilst I was having a family. I had a family and I had a newborn. Although the project worked out, I miscalculated some of the regulations. So I lost pretty much everything within a year and a half. All of the money that I made previously, I lost it when I was 30. That was all in, you know. It was calculated risk,
Mm,
calculated because I don't go all in something that I don't believe.
mm,
I don't go all in something which is which is like crypto, where I cannot control the situation. I
mm,
don't go into stocks and things like that. But in business, if I believe in that, just all in. It doesn't matter. I can pull out my money, you know, put the money into the business, try to make it happen, and usually it works. But sometimes you lose as well. When you lose, that's when it hurts.
mm.
Then you regret. Yeah,
I think that's really huge. You say you take calculator risk because there's a
calculate.
difference between taking risk and
Yeah.
calculator risk. What
Here's the
what are some
thing.
of the
I don't go. Here's the thing, brother.
okay?
When I say I'm a big risk taker, I
Yeah.
don't go and bet on casinos. This is
Okay.
this never. I would never do. What if I cannot control the situation? If
Yeah.
it's like casino or crypto, then no, I don't do that stuff. But the business, yeah, I do. I do. I take calculated risk, and if I believe in it, then I just go in.
When it comes to overthinking,
Yeah,
I think that stops a lot of people when it comes to taking a risk because they're thinking about all the possibilities. Since you're taking calculated risk, what are some of the things that are going through your mind in order to essentially figure out if it's worth it for you to be able to take that calculated risk?
good question. If the market is growing, it's a good sign. For example, AI. To me, it's a great industry. I look at the market size as well. I look at the competition. You know, I look into whether I can scale the business. So I don't go to offline businesses just by nature because I'm in tech industry.
Mhm,
I've been doing tech companies for a long time. So I look into how do I scale it? Is there big market? Is the market big enough? Is the market growing or is it going down? If it's going down, am I going to be able to grow on the market that is going down? Can I grow in this market? So I look into all of these things, and if I get the positive signs, then I'm in the market.
I have I have so many questions for you, but
No, no problem, no problem. I don't go into small markets. If the
yeah,
market is a couple of $1 billion, so $3 billion, and there's too many competition, then it's not interesting. You can't build something big out of in that market. I don't. I like if the market is like $50 billion and
mhm,
upwards and etc. Then you can make money.
mhm,
Also, I try to find the inefficiencies in the market
mhm,
and try to solve the problem. You know, it, the way I operate is that I find inefficiencies or I find the problems, invest in the solution or offer a service, and this is how I make money.
Mm.
One of the projects that I was, I failed, unfortunately. I tried to do something like Airbnb back in Eastern Europe. And then this is when, short-term rentals, it existed, but it was like going to, you would go and find short-term rentals on Craigslist here. In Eastern Europe, they had the same, something like Craigslist. And then I saw opportunity. I said, oh shit, the short-term rental is pretty big, but there's no platform where you can book it as in hotel, booking style.
Mm.
And this is where I created the platform. I went in there, but then I found out the regulations were against me. So
Mm.
after launching it, after actually executing it, after started growing, I found out that you know we couldn't do what we were trying to do there.
I think that brings me to something that you said earlier in the interview that I forgot to ask you earlier. But now that you
Yeah,
bring that up with Airbnb, we can almost have a full circle. You were saying that whenever you decide that you want to do something, at one point you know that you have to pivot, but you know that you want to keep that same goal.
yeah.
With Airbnb, you eventually realize, like, you know what, this isn't going to work out. How are you able to figure out if you need to pivot or if something is just, the dead end for it?
It was dead end just because there was no way to move on with the project. Unfortunately, I realized it late, and when I realized it, I got shocked because we already invested the money and then built the platform. But then you know, I had to do something very, very quickly because I had 40 in-house employees.
Mm.
Out of them were approximately 20 developers, coders. So I had to find out the way. Okay, what do I do? I knew that I had to shut it down because there was no any other option. And then when I realized that I had to shut it down, I announced that, and it was public. And then people start reaching out to me saying, "Hey, what's going on?" And I said, "Look, this is what it is, but I'm looking at the new opportunities, and the new opportunity for me was, doing a development work for other people because I knew how to develop products,
Mm.
and that was essentially pivoting. I went, bankrupt, and then within a month I started a consultancy business, development business, because I had the key, I had the knowledge,
Mm.
and I also had the developers. So I bankrupt, and I said, okay, this is what I'm going to be doing now. Anybody who wants to consult with me, you can pay me, you can hire my team, you can hire me, and we're going to do the development. It was a very smooth transition
Oh, that's amazing.
from losing
That's
$3 million to making another $1 million in a year.
wow. That's a good pivot. I would definitely say
Yeah,
that's a good pivot.
yeah,
Um, but wrapping up here today, I have really just two more questions because I want to be respectful of your time,
yeah. No
especially on
problem.
the Sunday evening. The first question is, what was success to you 15 years ago, and what is success to you now?
The success to me 15 years ago, it would have been, you know, making shitloads of money, and I guess that 15 years ago would be uh, 20, 50, $100 million, whatever, and that would be a success. Now, success to me, um, there, it's a combination of everything. It's having a successful family. because I have 3 kids, family, and they're part of my success story. And then the second thing would be still, making money, but in a smart way, not just, you know, not just making money. I want to create a product that is useful, that people are using, that it's solving some kind of problem. Um, and sharing my knowledge with other people. So the combination of all of these 3 things would be a success to me. If I just make money and don't share my knowledge, it's not cool anymore. And if I just make money and my family is not happy with me and with everything that I have, I would definitely not consider it to be a success.
Mm, that's real. That's real. That leads me honestly into my second question,
Okay.
and that is, what would you leave the audience today with one piece of advice?
Um, well, if we're talking about the business, it's acquirable skill. It is definitely acquirable skill. You just need to find a problem, come up with a solution, have a big enough market, and then just invest time. The same way, exactly same way as you invested your time in college, school, when you were doing, training for something, you would spend some time to get a result. You need to spend some time. Be ready that maybe you would have to pivot, and it's okay. Maybe you will fail, and it's normal. It's part of the success. It's part of the journey. But if you fail and never try again, you will never succeed in business. If you fail, you learn from that and you move on, you have a chance to succeed. It's an acquirable skill.
I think that can be spread over so many things other than just business. I think a person
Exactly.
can even take that into like personal relationships in their life. I
Exactly.
love that. Yeah, there's nothing that
Exactly.
we can really top that. So closing out here today, how can people find you? How can people
Hey, I'm on Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. Bobir Akilkhanov. Yeah, you can find me on Instagram. You can find me on LinkedIn.
All right, perfect. Well, I'll go ahead and make sure I put everything in the show notes.
Thank
Well,
you.
again, thank you so much for taking time out of your evening to be with us today, y'all. This has been another episode of Verified Phenoms, and I will catch you all on the very next episode.